A lot of the stuff we just talked about today may not seem like groundbreaking, earth-shattering, transformational new ideas. But what is absolutely transformational and new and groundbreaking and earth-shattering is that it's not guesswork. Those three values and the ideas that you generate that align with those three values will absolutely engage, motivate, and inspire the folks that you're trying to engage and motivate and inspire. It's data. It's plus or minus 3.5% accurate, 95% level of confidence. This isn't just me getting up on stage and saying, you know, I kind of think people are going to be into this. This is based on hundreds of millions of data points and an academically rigorous study. So the guesswork is gone. I'm going to give you what we call the 3 Telltale questions. This is a little set of questions you can use to get a little deeper into your own communities, into your own plan members. These 3 questions we've tested around the world with all kinds of people, everyone from hedge fund managers on Wall Street to Doctors Without Borders people for the United Nations, and all kinds of different kinds of people. And they do not fail to get people to start talking about their values. You have to take these 3 questions, ask them as often as you can, and listen. Because people will have different ways of answering these questions, but what they will all be doing is telling you about something that they value. So if you listen for the common threads, those are their values bubbling to the surface. So let's say you want to try and understand the values of the folks who are coming to your annual general meeting. Well, get a bunch of folks trained on these 3 questions, get them out there in the crowd, ask those questions, listen for those commonalities, and you'll start to hear people saying the same kinds of things, those topics, those themes will bubble to the surface. The first question, why do you go to work? People will say everything from it's about paying my bills to making sure my family has a better life than I had growing up, because it's my creative outlet, it's because where my friends are, it's because I feel like I'm making a difference in the world. There's all kinds of reasons why people go to work and spend 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and sometimes more doing this thing. Because remember, everything we do is driven by our values. So if you can get people to tell you why they go to work, they're going to be telling you about their values. Second question, you just won the lottery. Why would you give away half? Now this one you always get some smart ass who says, I wouldn't. You go, nah, you're hilarious. Let them get that out. Let them get that out. And say, why would you give away half? Now, what's important here is it's not who would you give it to, because that's going to be the first response from many folks. It's going to be, why would you give away half? That's an incredibly important decision, and decisions are driven by our values. What would you say, this is my favorite one, what would you say to your 10 years ago self? You get to say one thing. And frankly, between you and me, my friends, you're all my new best friends. I'm going to tell you a little secret. I don't really care what they say about what that one thing is, because the point of this question is, why did you choose that one thing? Again, why did you make this monumental decision? You get to say only one thing to yourself from the past. Why that thing? So if you ask those questions, use your own words, make it sound like it's just part of the conversation. Over a cocktail, I've said cocktail 3 or 4 times now in the course of this speech. Guess what's on my mind? It's early, it's not even noon. If you ask those 3 questions, you'll start to get a sense of who those folks are and what their values are. And then you can use that information the same way that I showed you to use the information for the Canada-wide data that we collected for this presentation today.